Here on the ground, change happens fast. Problems feel frequent and urgent. It's loud and anxiety runs high. From a satellite view, the Earth looks the same as it did thousands of years ago. We've been here before. Let's learn from our past and shoot for a better future.
Hello and welcome to this week's episode of A Satellite View. I'm Todd Mikkelson, your host, speaking at you from, I don't know what day it is, the 31st of May, 2026 in the space and time continuum. I do know what day it is. It's Sunday, coming at you a little early. My schedule's been really off for a couple weeks now. Got stuck for 2 extra days in New York City because of airplane problem. It was excruciating, but I won't tell you that whole story. But that's why I did not do the show last week. We didn't get back really until Wednesday, so it was just kind of too late to run the show at that point. But some of the notes I have are from last Sunday. I don't know what you have and haven't heard, and it's been feeling weird to me because, like I said, my schedule has been so different for 2 solid weeks now. And I'm not sure what I have gotten up on, but I think I have still found some things that you probably are not hearing about. For instance, the 5th U.S. aircraft was shot down by Iran during this ceasefire, just last night or this morning. 5 U.S. aircrafts shot down. Do you hear about that on the news? Does Trump talk about it? No. Trump is all kind of disappeared again. I think I saw that he might have been answering questions earlier today, but he was disappeared for the couple days before that. His health, news about his health is getting more and more serious. Even mainstream outlets are starting to report on that he's going to Walter Reed and that it was his 3rd, quote-unquote, annual checkup within a year. Annual is supposed to be once a year, Donald. So that's getting reported on. Apparently, rumors on Capitol Hill are getting really pressurized in that whole situation. This is going to be huge news when it finally comes out about just how many health issues the President of the United States had without reporting it to the American people. It's a lot of dull headache kind of things going on, but because that's getting reported even more on mainstream media now, this week is really showing a huge tide turning. I know I say that a lot, but this week feels even more severe. A lot of Republicans finally kind of ignoring Trump. And Trump is losing a lot of his chutzpah, what do you want to call it? He just doesn't care. He doesn't care anymore. His whole event that he was having, you probably heard, all except for Vanilla Ice of the musical artists dropped out of his stupid birthday celebration. That's all it is. It has nothing to do with America's 250th anniversary. It has only to do with his little boy birthday party. I haven't had a birthday party, for decades, because I'm a grown man. Now, I know grown-up people who love birthdays and have birthday parties for themselves. I'm not putting you down, but Donald Trump is acting like a little boy, a spoiled little bully boy, constantly. And even the Republicans are getting sick of it. I heard Marjorie Taylor Greene is no longer a Republican. I don't know details on that. I don't care enough to look into it. I don't think you care enough about that for me to put time into trying to inform you of it. I wrote in my notes that about a week ago, Trump showed up with his makeup like about a quarter inch all around his mouth was not covered in makeup. So my notes, it says Trump has Al Jolson lips now. He looked like Al Jolson. If you know who Al Jolson is, if you don't, look up Al Jolson, just Google it and you'll see a photo and you'll see what I'm talking about. He's very sick, and it's getting reported now. And even UFC, is that what it is? The fight thing, I think it's horrible. I think it's disgusting. People who are into that kind of crap. Watching guys beat the crap out of each other is just barbaric and stupid and disgusting. And Trump wants to have it on the White House lawn. Even some of these meathead fighters are against it. I saw a clip of some fighter, I don't know who he is, but people who enjoy watching this horrible, disgusting filth probably know who he is. He said, I'm going to walk around with the Epstein file guys? No, dog. Don't need that, dog. Another fighter made a video of himself saying he no longer follows Donald Trump. He admits that he was fooled and he believes Donald Trump is the Antichrist. Joe Rogan, who of course is a meathead himself. I think he hosts some of these UFC fights sometimes. So he's really into it. He thinks it's a stupid idea, horrible idea, but for the dumbest reasons, of course. He thinks that the poor little fragile little fighter boys, who, by the way, Donald Trump flirts with and says, you're too good looking to be a fighter. You could be a model. You just look, can I touch your knee? I'm going to touch your knee. On the video, he like taps the guy's knee, and the guy's naked because he's doing the stupid fight. Donald Trump, I don't know, he's showing a lot of tendencies toward homosexuality over the last few weeks, which, of course, nothing wrong with that, but of course, the hypocrisy and ironic. Anyway, yeah, so I'm just going with my thoughts now, but this whole UFC thing is falling apart. And his other thing basically is canceled, that he was going to do with the music and artists. And the music artists were not the most popular people anyway. Ice-T, or no, not Ice-T, Vanilla Ice. A lot different than Ice-T. Anyway, I was going to read you something, though, that is very interesting. Well, one more funny thing. In a humiliating move, Donald Trump's chief of staff just asked J.D. Vance to get off of Twitter because he was behaving beneath the office of the vice presidency. Of course, she didn't tell Donald Trump to get off of his thing, but J.D. Vance is being made a fool of. I guess he is canceling things that was supposed to be doing. And people are talking about that he might resign. I've heard that his wife is pressuring him to resign because she sees the legalities coming, because she's actually an intelligent, well, how intelligent can you be if you decided to marry J.D. Vance? But she's a lawyer, a very, very successful lawyer. She knows a lot about the law, and she knows J.D. Vance is going to spend the rest of his life in prison if he doesn't get out. I think it's too late already, but even if he gets out now, I think he's going to spend some time in prison. Like, I don't know, all of these people. Someday, of course, we see things are moving slowly. But this week, here's something that happened on Friday. Aside from the people turning against Trump, federal judge reopens Trump IRS case and demands to know if her court was defrauded. Judge Kathleen Williams has had enough. In a brief but devastating order on Friday, the federal judge in Miami reopened Donald Trump's $10 billion lawsuit against the IRS, a case Trump had voluntarily dismissed last week specifically to avoid her scrutiny. She ordered Trump's lawyers to explain by June 12th why she shouldn't find that the entire scheme was a fraud perpetrated against her court. So you might have heard a court is delaying the $1.8 billion payments that Donald Trump says he's going to give to January 6th people and try and make a Trump militia. Basically, he's not saying that part, but this is what I'm talking about. It wasn't just delayed by this judge. It's kind of complicated. Trump withdrew his lawsuit and settled for the $1.8 billion instead of $10 billion. But he pulled his lawsuit because he knew it was going to lose horribly if it made it into the court. And then he would not have even been able to get the $1.8 billion. Now, going back to this article, the judge's language was pointed and precise. She said she wanted to investigate grievous allegations that the deal to resolve the case was premised on deception. She asserted that she was empowered to investigate serious misconduct and demanded answers to two devastating questions. Was the court victim of fraud? And did Trump collude with his own government to settle the case specifically to avoid judicial scrutiny? Of course, we know the answer to both questions is yes, of course. Judge Williams had been circling this case for weeks before Trump pulled it. She had openly questioned how Trump could sue an agency he controls with government lawyers who answer to him, producing a settlement negotiated with officials he appointed. She ordered both sides to explain whether they were actually adversaries or secretly colluding. Trump dismissed the case the day before those briefs were due. Then after she closed it, the Justice Department released not one, but two extraordinary agreements. The $1.776 billion fund to compensate Trump's allies and January 6 people, and a separate one-page document permanently barring the IRS from ever auditing Trump, his family, or his businesses. So she's also, Judge Williams is also putting an end to that. Her order came directly in response to the filing by 35 former federal judges appointed by presidents of both parties who called the scheme a fraud and urged her to reopen the case. She listened. We stand ready to work with the court as it investigates this matter, said Norman Eisen, who represented the former judges. Trump tried to flip the table before she could see the cards. She just put them back on the table. This is a very interesting turn of events. And you can see that not everything is hopeless here with the Trump regime. He is being stopped. The ballroom is also stopped right now. And people aren't afraid to turn against him. Also, this last week, another judge ordered him to take his stupid name off of the Kennedy Center. If you didn't know, he put his name so that it's the Trump Kennedy Center. And he put it on the side of the building with the old logo from the original building. He was ordered to remove his name. It was illegal for him to put his name on that. Things are happening. People are getting stronger and standing up to him. We're also going to talk about some problems that Pete Hegseth is having. And another kind of funny story about Marco Rubio accidentally calling Trump stupid. Oh, yeah. Also, more. Yeah, there's more. There's more. Let's take a short break. We'll be right back. You're listening to A Satellite View. We'll be right back. back on a satellite view. Find our website, satelliteviewpodcast.com. Go to YouTube and search for Satellite View Podcast, and you'll find our YouTube channel. Subscribe. It is free to subscribe, and it helps us get the word out. You can also find me at Todd Mikkelson on Instagram and Facebook. That's my personal one. I think it's Mikkelson at Mikkelson Politics, I believe, is our Facebook page for the show. Hegseth is being attacked. First of all, it looks like Trump is kind of, and you never know if Trump is doing some of these things on purpose because his mind is just rot at this point. But he said, Pete, you were the first one to say, yeah, we should go in, we should do it. A lot of people were against it, but Pete was the one who said we should do it. So is he trying to put the failed? Does he see that the war has failed in Iran? There's a lot of information about Republicans criticizing the quote-unquote deal. I have some more information on that. Right now, I was going to talk about this. Pentagon Pete accused of failing to protect troops before deadly attack. A U.S. soldier killed in President Donald Trump's war with Iran could have been saved if Pete Hegseth's Department of Defense had responded to her command's requests for more medical supplies. Master Sergeant Nicole Amor was one of 6 U.S. service members killed in a retaliatory strike in Kuwait on March 1st, just days after Trump authorized joint U.S.-Israeli attacks on Iran. Survivors of the devastating attack, which also left 20 people wounded, previously said they were dangerously exposed and unprepared to defend themselves, despite being on a list of potential Iranian targets. Now, Amor's colleagues have revealed that the unit also requested more medical support in the weeks preceding the strike, but they were ignored. And this is according to CBS News, which now is basically like Fox News. This was a failure, Major Stephen Ramsbottom told the network. She could have been saved. She fought the whole way and was trying to stay alive. Ramsbottom told CBS that after this attack, he expected ambulances to rush to the scene to treat the dozens of service members pulled from the rubble. There wasn't that, he said. It was like, oh man, we're on our own. Early on March 1st, anti-missile alarms had warned the soldiers to take cover in a cement bunker, but later the all-clear sounded. A drone then smashed through the tin ceiling of the soldiers' work area, spraying shrapnel in all directions. The scene was chaotic as the survivors rushed to find a local Kuwaiti hospital to treat the wounded and scrambled to find civilian vans to transport them. This is the United States military under Pete Hegseth and Donald Trump. If there had been a doctor, aid station, or more than one ambulance at the post, Amor could have survived her injuries, Ramsbottom said. 2 other soldiers who spoke on the condition of anonymity said the command had asked Army leadership for more medical personnel and supplies ahead of the strike, but never received it. Another survivor, Master Sergeant Anne Marie Carrier, told CBS the Army hadn't planned for a mass casualty event or run through any possible scenarios before Trump greenlit the military campaign, which the Pentagon has called Operation Epic Fury. She said Amor was still breathing as she was hoisted into a passenger van. A medic joined them in the van but didn't have the supplies he needed to treat Amor's airway and stabilize her. By the time they arrived at Adan Hospital, Armour had stopped breathing, said Carrier, and described Armour as her best friend. Amor died at the hospital. That death is directly on Pete Hegseth and his stupidity and Donald Trump's eagerness to cover up the Epstein files. People are dying because of this crap. That's a very disturbing story, and I don't know if you heard it. Now, apparently CBS was doing some reporting on it, but not very widespread. What else is going on over there? What are they covering up? 13 people dead. And I'm not going to go further into that. It is horrible. Here is something. Marco Rubio was asked a question, kind of switching here. This is, I think, pretty funny. The Department of State put up a tweet last week, and it talks about a reporter asking Marco Rubio a question. So here's the tweet. It says, "Reporter, there's been a lot of racism coming from the U.S. against Indians. What's your response? Secretary Rubio, I'm sure there are people that have made dumb comments because every country has stupid people. I'm sure there are stupid people here. I don't know what else to tell you other than the U.S. is a very welcoming country. Our nation has been enriched by people who come to our country and become Americans, have assimilated into our way of life, and have contributed greatly." That sound like something that the Trump administration would say? This tweet was deleted because Trump told them to take it down. It's on the official Department of State Twitter account. So Rubio wanted it put up there. He wanted him talking about that if you're criticizing any ethnicity in the United States, you're stupid. And of course, we all know that's Donald Trump's main thing he loves to do, not to mention most GOPers. So he was ordered to take that tweet down. If you can believe it. Oh my God. The deal that Republicans are turning on, everything that Republicans complained about in the 2015 deal that Obama made. Obama unfroze some Iranian assets, including money, back then. Well, Trump's doing that now as part of this deal. So he's getting a lot of criticism from Republicans. The U.S. peace deal with Iran includes reopening Hormuz, an end to the blockade, releasing $6 billion in frozen funds to Iran, and the withdrawal of U.S. naval forces from around Iran. That sound like something the Republicans want? Supposed to be a 60-day ceasefire, yet the fifth U.S. aircraft since the ceasefire began has been shot down. Yeah. So it's just all stupidity. It's all stupidity. I have a lot more information here. We're running out of time. I'm trying to... This is something I want to point out that I'm finding very interesting. Young people you think would be the ones who would be most excited about AI. Yet, I don't know if you've been seeing, I was actually at a commencement where my daughter graduated from Pratt Institute in Brooklyn, New York. The ceremony was actually at Radio City Music Hall in Manhattan. So it was pretty cool. We got to go into Radio City Music Hall, which is a pretty incredible place, and that's where my daughter's commencement was. The whole group of friends hate AI. The keynote speaker talked about AI and loud boos from all of the students. You might have seen this on video from other commencements. Whenever AI is mentioned, the students boo. Young people hate AI. Now, I understand AI will likely have some important and useful roles in things like medical treatment because of what it can do. But when it comes to replacing any kind of creativity, writing, or art, somebody pointed out that AI cannot do comedy, of course. You hear older people talking about, oh, AI is going to be the future. It's going to take over everything. But they also say, it's probably going to take away jobs. My daughter graduated in architecture. AI is being used in architecture. That is not cool for architecture students. So young people hate AI. All people hate these data centers. They're being stopped over and over in many, many different places. Peter Thiel, one of these, you call them tech bros, I guess, he has fled let's go back in time. To 1945, when a bunch of Nazis fled where? To Argentina. That's where Peter Thiel just fled the United States. He is now in Argentina. He, of course, is a Nazi himself. What else is going on? The Pentagon is recruiting troops to attend this stupid fight event, and they have to pay their own way to get to Washington, D.C. at a time when nobody can afford to fly. And they also, you're not allowed in. It says no fatties. That's part of their rule. No fatties. You have to actually be a certain weight and height in order to get in. You have to wear your short sleeve dress uniform because they want, I don't know, guys who are into this stupid sport showing their biceps or something. Yeah, as we know, Trump is turning more and more gay all the time. Is Pete Hegseth as well? I mean, Thomas Massey lost his primary, but there is news of 150,000 votes being held back. What happened in Texas with their primary? I haven't looked at it, but I assume it's the same thing that happened in Indiana that we pointed out here a couple of weeks ago. Trump's people that he has endorsed, even though they're the worst people, like in Texas, they're winning these primaries, but it's because the Republicans are not showing up for the primaries. The only people showing up to vote in the Republican primaries are the MAGAtiest of MAGAts. So that's why Trump's people are winning. Not winning the majority. This is why Trump thinks he's popular, but he is not. He says there's going to be 100,000 people at the fight thing. They're expecting now 4,000. I predict it'll be less than 1,000. And they're recruiting troops to be there because normal people don't want to go. So this is what's happening. It's really sincerely falling apart for Donald Trump. You also might be hearing more of the name Ashley St. Clair. She's coming out. She talked about Elon Musk telling her that he's got space lasers, 10,000 space lasers, and all the stuff that we reported months ago, him saying they're not going to see this on the chessboard, knowing the outcome of the election 4 hours before it was called, all these kind of things. Ashley St. Clair dated him and has now seen the light. So now she's reporting. She was offered, I think she said $40 million to keep her mouth shut, and she declined to do that. Right now, she's just trying to stay safe and alive because these people kill people. They're mobsters. The DOJ erases January 6th history. What did that do? It just triggered more talk about January 6th. So they're making all the stupidest wrong moves. Plus, you can't erase anything anymore. They don't seem to understand that. Tulsi Gabbard resigned. Another thing that happened last week. I'm sure you heard about that, though. But yeah, so much more. There's such a plethora of news, but a lot of it is good news because it's bad news for Trump. And Trump is not even being he's probably is being really pissed off about it behind the scenes, but it seems like he's just losing interest in life itself at this point. Maybe because he knows it's very short. He's at very close to the very end of it for him. I don't know. I think it's getting interesting, more and more interesting. At the same time, it still is a dull headache. When is this going to crumble, completely crumble? It is crumbling, but when is it going to hit the ground? When, the regime is falling. When is it going to hit the ground? That's what we're waiting for. I know it's frustrating, but if we stick together, we will make it there. Now, the weather's getting nicer up here in the Northern Hemisphere. I spent a lot of time outdoors because it got so nice here in Minnesota this last week and in New York when I was there the week before. And it really did me well. So please take care of yourself. Get outside and enjoy your life. You don't need to keep up on all this news. I will help you get the things that you might be interested in as much as I can. I mean, I almost didn't do the show this week because I felt like, I kind of need to take a break from all this, and I was enjoying being outside. I put the whole act together just this morning because I thought, well, I missed last week. How long am I going to go? Because it feels like I want to permanently break from all this news consumption. But of course, we need to keep up on it. We need to keep the pressure on. Thank you so much to the people, for instance, protesting at Delaney Hall. There's news about that you can find. Ukraine is getting worse and worse for Putin. Sounds like he might be on his deathbed as well. But it also sounds like some oligarchs are thinking of trying to replace him. So it's getting dire for him. And there's also information about Netanyahu hiding medical. He had prostate cancer more than a year ago, never told anybody. And apparently he was rushed to the hospital at 11 p.m. 3 nights ago. And what did he say it was for? A dentist's appointment. So things are getting dire for Netanyahu. The three evils, Netanyahu, Putin, and Trump. It's getting more and more dire. It really is. It really is. It feels like you can't believe it anymore because they're still here, but it really, truly is. So let's keep the pressure on. Pressure of the people is working. That's why there are more and more Republican elected officials starting to not be afraid to go against Trump. In states that has happened now, in Mississippi, South Carolina, Indiana, they voted against Trump in their state legislatures on this gerrymandering issue. And that, by the way, is not going well for the Republicans either. So things are getting worse for them, which means better for us. Doesn't feel like it's getting better for us yet. Prices are going up. Inflation is going up. Not sure what's going to happen with the economy, but it's looking pretty bad. But take care of yourself. Make sure that your life is as good as it can be. And take time to enjoy the people that you care about and enjoy doing the things that you care about. Keep yourself sane. Let's stick together. And if sticking together and pushing through this, we will get there. Thank you so much for being here with me. And I will be here with you. Everything goes as planned again next week.
You've been listening to A Satellite View with Todd Mikkelson. Go to toddmikkelson.com for links and more information.